your interest in this opportunity. Whether you know myself or you know Mary, we are very just excited for to launch this work in Fort Worth. And so, really just here to be able to share more information and answer any questions that you may have. And so, just for context, for the broader piece, we can go to the next slide, Mary. It's really just making sure you all are aware that this is about collective network, a capacity building initiative that works with established both nonprofit and for-profit entities. We're really focused on supporting community-oriented developers that reflect the communities that they serve. And so from that standpoint, we really want to, and this you'll see this in the application, we really want to highlight the work that you are already doing in community and how we can continue to support. We're big on the community development ecosystem. It's very much developer led. So as we get in applications, as well as the work that we've already done with developers in the market, we're really trying to understand what do you need to be successful and how can we continue to provide resources that include everything from capital to innovative partnerships. So that's really the ethos of the Community Developers Roundtable. And so we can go to the next slide. So when we talk about this work, it's really big for us to not just see it as something of like, oh, it's really nice to do this in community, but really talk about this as economic development. And so we take some of the work from this Grove Impact Study, which talks about removing the constraints from underrepresented developers and really what the economic impact is. And so they brought to light where there's new jobs, there's new revenue that enters into the industry, into the overall real estate development industry. And as we think about what DFW brings to the table, we know real estate is a huge, huge market here. And so how do we continue to see and help that work thrive? So from there, want to give you some additional context of what does the program actually look like. And so from a structural standpoint, it's a cohort model. We've had two cohorts to date in Dallas, and those were kind of our 2-year pilots. So after that pilot, now we're here in the Fort Worth market. It is a 9-month duration. We have half-day sessions, and Mary will kind of go a little bit more into that. But through those sessions, we're doing everything from really talking with I say seasoned developers, folks who have been in the market 30 plus years and are doing major projects throughout Fort Worth and Tarrant County, all the way to our kind of invite only one-on-one networking dinner where we invite the CDR members and our partners and sponsors to just break bread. Let's have drinks, have dinner, get to know each other, and really, again, be intentional about creating those relationships. You'll also see a range of resources that we have provided in the past, and we always look to curate that for the developers that we're working with. But that has been everything from communication strategy. So like, how are you talking about your business and how can we support, review of your website or things like that. Everyone talks about reviewing financials, right? So we partner with a CPA and tax consultant to provide a retainer for the developers to, address everything from your tax returns to your consistent P&L and balance sheet and kind of getting on consistency with that. We have provided executive coaching. I know many people have a team that they have had for a while or they're trying to move forward. And so we provide staff training stipends to help people really say, like, how do you continue to build capacity for those that are on your team? And if you're a solopreneur, we can fund you to get some things, the training that you need for your work as well. So those are just some of the context. But on this next slide, it gives some context to some of the session topics that we've had. And so that's been everything from how do you think about financing your projects and deal structuring? We know that like you may get a term sheet from a bank, or you may be assessing a hard money lender versus a CDFI versus a CRA loan, right? Like how do you start to think about what terms you can negotiate and getting practice in that? There's all these conversations around joint venture partnerships, right? Like if you're a smaller developer or, you may be a long-standing developer, but someone's saying, okay, I want a partner to do XYZ. Well, the real detail is really in the agreement, right? Like, what does it say in the agreement of and what does it look like for you all to partner? So everything from bad boy carve outs to like various types of guarantees to how you structure the waterfall. We have a legal team that comes in and walks through a sample term sheet of all the things you can negotiate. We'll have the city of Fort Worth. They're a major partner. They'll come in and talk about all the different incentive programs and processes. And really, if anyone has worked with the city of Fort Worth, I'm sure many of you have, having those internal relationships is key to get some of that done as well. So again, helping each other build those relationships and those partnerships. So those are just some of the topics. And to give context, there'll be a monthly topic. We'll have panels and speakers around that. Each session will also have, we talked about the seasoned developer come and talk through their experience in the market. That's very much a one-on-one conversation, learning about their life, the work that they do, how they think about the market. We always do feedback sessions of deals, like how do we collectively as a group support each other's work. I will say we do sign NDAs before that so that people feel comfortable with sharing those projects and things like that. But again, just trying to create a community around the work. So we can go to the next slide. Just to give some context on, one of the other resources, right? So in the past, as I mentioned, we have provided capital. And so our example here is our partnership with BCL of Texas, which is a statewide CDFI. We've worked with them to provide pre-development funding. So specifically for land acquisition, early stage soft costs, at very flexible terms, but also with a forgivable component. And so through that partnership, we provided $1.7 million in pre-development and construction loans. We still have a partnership with them, and I'll say we are actually in the middle of revamping this resource to provide equity dollars into projects. We saw that people needed more flexible capital for both early stage pre-development and operations. And so this is something that we're actively revamping at the moment as well. And so the last slide I'll provide before I toss it over to Mary is just how we think about collective impact. And so when you see the application, you'll see how we're asking for all kind of data up front, but this kind of gives us a baseline of understanding so that we can really calculate, okay, what's the development activity that the CDR is impacting, specifically when we look at housing and commercial projects in underserved areas. And so in our first 2 years of the pilot, we looked at development activity or impact, excuse me, development activity over $125 million. But when we also think about impact, it's about what are people doing in their community already. And so for many of our CDR alumni, that has been everything from supporting down payment assistance with their own money, to hiring local contractors, to serving on various boards and commissions and task forces throughout the region. And I know many on this call are already doing those things. And so we're just excited to be able to support you in the work that you're already doing. And so with that, that's kind of the history of the roundtable. I'm going to pass it over to Mary. She is leading out this work for us in Fort Worth. And so I'll let Mary take it from here. You're on mute, Mary.
Ooh, there we go. Thank you, Maggie. So, yeah, so Maggie gave a great overview of why this work was started and the impact and that we're having, why Fort Worth. I think all of y'all doing the work here probably know this. We're going to just add to this existing momentum in this rapidly growing market. We want to focus on the small growth and economic stability for developers working here in Fort Worth. We want to address some of the gaps. I'm going to share a little bit about our market research and engagement that we've done, but we found that there's gaps in access to capital, types of projects being funded, navigating those relationships and understanding the resources that are available here in Fort Worth. So our solution is to create this roundtable, align these impactful partners and support these developers so that we can create a really strong economic growth in this market. So again, a little bit about the engagement. In the fall of 2024, we started looking at expanding outside of Dallas and really looking at, Fort Worth and more regionally, but specifically Fort Worth. What is happening in the Fort Worth market? It's obviously quite different than Dallas. So we started talking to developers and understanding, where is the access to capital? In the spring, we started these informal meetings and conversations with Fort Worth stakeholders and some of the leaders in the industry, kind of really um, fleshing out and having conversations about what they're seeing. In April, we brought together a focus group of 10 to 12 community developers to just understand the work they're doing, the types of projects, the areas, what are their challenges, where have been some successes, and really understand how we can add value here. In May, we were invited to the Real Estate Council's Community Affairs Committee. Those of you, again, who understand Fort Worth, the Real Estate Council is a very strong advocate and partner in this area. So from there, they really just linked arms with us and kind of propelled us to the next steps here, which is all summer long, meeting after meeting, aligning the stakeholder support, meeting with all the key partners here in Fort Worth, which I'll show you in this next slide. We did have our launch event last week. Our applications are open and they will close on the 9th. And we're hoping to launch this, not hoping to, we are launching this on October 30th. Oh, my apologies. Went over this again already. So again, just a little bit about the partners. And this is not all the partners that we've been meeting with, that we still have several that we're gathering information from and understanding how we're partnering with them. But we have a great relationship with the Fort Worth Community Land Trust. You know, they're new to the town, but they are really eager to help support local developers getting into working on affordable housing. The city of Fort Worth, lots of great financial backers, Charles Schwab, PNC, Wells Fargo, Texas Bank, South State Bank is not on here. They've been a great supporter. The Real Estate Council, and then you'll recognize some of our local organizations here, but all the chambers have also been quite supportive. So we've got a really great group of folks to come jump in on this work. So a little bit about the developer profile. Who is eligible? Who are we looking to support here in Fort Worth? We are looking for, as Maggie said, established developers. So again, at least 2 years of real estate development experience with one project either completed or in the process. You've got financing and or approved plans, like you're well on your way to seeing this project through. Again, local developers working with and for their community, focusing on community impact, and that can mean a lot of things. But some of the projects that we are looking for are single family housing, attainable housing, up to 120% AMI, multifamily housing up to 80%, and commercial real estate developments focusing in these underserved, distressed areas. So not someone new to the development arena, but those who are already here working. Quick overview of the application process. It's 3 steps. This QR code will lead you to the application on our website. You fill out the application on the website. We vet those to make sure that you meet the basic criteria. From there, it's a financial review that goes to our banking and finance partners. Maggie and I do not see that. And then should you make it past that, we have a 3rd step, which is just an interview to really sit down and understand you, your work, how you got here, and what are your goals. So let's back it up a little bit. The application's online. As I've said, there's 2 years of development experience. But really, you just need a minimum of these one project. It either has to be an active project with financing and approved plans, or a project you've finished. We do ask for 2 references, a professional reference from a lender and just a professional reference. Again, I kind of talked about the target project types: single family up to 120% AMI, multifamily projects up to 80%, and commercial products in areas that have seen little development. again, just a little bit about the screenings. Once we give you the heads up that you've made it to the second round, you have a week to submit your financials. So the financials, let's talk about that. I don't want this to scare anyone off. We're really just looking for to see where your organization is. So we'd like 2 years of financial statements, bank statements, profit and loss, project or sponsor performance. We want to see where your organization is at. We need an outline of your leadership. Maybe that's just you. Maybe you've got a team of folks. Maybe you've got contractors you work with. We want to know who you're working with and any additional relevant project highlights. And I'll let Maggie pop in if she wants to add anything here, but I think I want to say that I just want to make sure people understand that if you're not working with a traditional lender at the moment, that does not disqualify you. We're hoping that's one of the goals that many people have. A lot of folks work with hard money or private money because it's quick and easy. Other folks don't want to deal with the going to a traditional lender. For those that have the goal to work with traditional lenders, it will save you a lot of money. And so on the back end of your deal. So we're wanting to support that. But I want to make it clear that it doesn't put you out of the running just because you're working with hard money lenders. That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, now I'll add to this section. To Mary's point, don't let this scare you at all. This is not a it literally has never been a disqualifier. The one time we had to address it with someone, they were in the CDR the next year, right? So don't think that this is like we're trying to cut people out. To Mary's point, it is to get a better understanding of the positioning of the organization. So when we send this off, and I just want to give more context to the process, when we send this off to our lender partners, they are reviewing the financials and they just give us a basic memo,
Honey,
which we're
she's
gonna
got
put
her
you on
things and
mute.
her clothes out.
All right.
Woo-wee.
Who we got here? I got you,
I
Nick.
don't know who that is, but he talking.
I'm trying to. Oh,
Okay, there we go. So trying to remember what I was saying. So, anyways, you can get the memo. Anyone can get the memo that we receive from the lenders. All that memo discusses is excuse me, is this organization ready for traditional financing? If not, what can we do to help them get ready for traditional financing? What additional questions do they need to be thinking about in regards to their financials? That's it, right? So all they're doing is giving us insight so that we're better prepared to support the developers that are in the roundtable. And again, anyone who applies that makes it to this level can receive that memo as well. If you have any concerns about that, then feel free to reach out. Marcia, to your questions around tax records, yes, they are acceptable. Please be sure to remove all of your personal information. So black out any personal information on the documents if you're providing your tax records as well. So we can keep going, Mary. That's my
okay.
thought.
Okay. So, okay. So as Maggie said, so once we've reviewed that, the folks that have made it past that, which is not that hard, we're just going to bring them in and ask for an interview by our selection committee. There are virtual options available as noted, but it's going to be a mix, our committee of CDR alumni, partners, local lenders, and some community stakeholders. So just kind of having a conversation. Those projected, I did throw in some projected dates, the 6th through the 10th. We're hoping to have those interviews done by and candidates notified by the 14th, confirmation by the 17th. So I think I've done an overview of, yeah, the timeline and dates. So just a quick recap. The applications are due on the 9th. Documents due on the 17th. In-person interviews the 6th through the 10th. You're notified on the 14th. And then we are requiring the confirmation and acceptance by the 17th. And we're going to get going on the 30th. So again, just another high-level overview. It's 8-month in-person sessions. We hold our sessions from 8:30 to 1. They're the third Thursday of every month. We will include lunch with every session. We will have two structured networking events and an invite-only partner dinner. Parking and lunch will be provided, excuse me. And lastly, candidates are expected to participate in 70% of the roundtable engagements. We understand as busy professionals and entrepreneurs, there are things that you cannot get out of, but the commitment to this cohort really adds value to what you get out of it and how much you're accessing these resources. So um, I also noted at the bottom there may be other events, trainings, and networkings that arise, and we'll just kind of communicate those as we go through. Um,
I want to
yeah,
add this about the engagements. So, we, yes, everyone's busy. This is once a month. We tell folks the dates in advance. It's on the calendar. But, if folks aren't attending on a regular basis, then we will kind of draw back on some of the resources that are providing and just make sure that we're providing it to those who are engaged with the work. Note that we continue to work with our CDR alumni. And so this is ongoing, right? It's a 9 month intensive, I would say, but there's ongoing engagement on our end. And so we spend a lot of time curating the space and we look forward to people being there, and everyone kind of learning and, yeah, learning together. So just
yeah.
want to add that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Because I kind of wanted to make sure that everybody, because it is a commitment that we do expect you to try to prioritize. So again, the session times, and then these are our tentative dates. There may be something where we would need to move a date, but for now, these are the dates that we're focusing on. It's the third Thursday of every month. Um, we don't have an exact date for the networking mixers. We're leaning on our partners to coordinate those so that we can engage with our local resources. And with that, I will open it up to any questions.